It is game day, and the Florida Gators will attempt to become the first team this season to slow down the vaunted Miami Hurricanes pass rush.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Number 4, Miami Hurricanes hosting the Florida Gators. It is almost time to get out there. I'm excited. I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC and host of Postgame on the Hurricanes Radio Network. And thank you so much to the Everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every moment count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, on this loaded episode, we're going to talk college game day just went off in Coral Gables, and I thought this was one of the more entertaining episodes of ESPN College Game Day ever. I would say it was a huge success, including the guest picker. Matthew Tkachuk absolutely rocked it, and he even threw in a Florida State jab that Miami's going to go up there and kick the you-know-what out of them. Like, Chucky, that was so great. And let's talk now with the man we call the POSTCAST King. He's going to be on our Locked On Canes channels immediately after Miami versus the Gator tonight. And good, bad, or ugly, hopefully great, Grease, our man Jim Grieshaber, is going to be breaking all of it down. So Grease, how you feeling now as we're a few hours away from game time? Depending on when people watch this, maybe the game's already about to start. How you feeling heading into this clash against Florida?
Feeling like I was wishing I'm in your shoes right now and heading to the stadium and wishing I was just 41. Happy birthday, by the way. Birthday week
Thank
for
you.
Alex Donno. And I told you go get some Gator meat, and you one-upped it, man. You went to an event with a bunch of Hurricane legends getting ready for this game. And, you know, the one thing I miss, Alex, about being right there where you're going at the stadium with everything around it, especially a game like this, right? The entire state of Florida shuts down for a game like this. Football is king in Florida. And even though the Gators are struggling, right? Even though they came in with high expectations, they were ranked, you know what I mean? And literally came in guns a-blazing and then lost to USF in their opener, which kind of scared us a little bit too much, I think, about USF. Everyone but me. I got some props in the YouTube for my pick on the final score last week. Yeah. People telling me they thought I was crazy. But, Alex, I feel great about the game. I'm trying to be funny about not being there in the environment. I really wish I want to be there in all of it, because these are the games that make being a Miami Hurricane fan what it is. It made being a student there extra special. And when the University of Miami is good, it's great for college football. But when the University of Miami is great, college football really skyrockets, right? Just like Notre Dame, one of the handful of programs, if that many. So the spotlight's there, the stage is there, the opponent's there, it's in-state, it's recruiting, it's everything you want a football game to be at the University of Miami, the experience that we all crave and want so much and haven't had so much of in recent years. We have it all and then some today, and we have the team that's ready for it.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a couple of my keys to the game at you. I'd like your take, and any keys to the game you're looking at, Grease, for this one. First and foremost, I want Miami to keep pressuring quarterbacks the way that they have been, which I think is especially important because DJ Lagway, I can't imagine he's got much confidence heading into this game, fresh off of a 5-interception performance against LSU. Like, I'm sure Lagway is motivated to bounce back and silence his critics, but you know, Florida's offensive line overall has graded out pretty well, but most of the pressure that they've given up has come from their right side. That's been a little bit problematic. And so Miami, I think, finding a way to exploit the right side of Florida's offensive line and get continued pressure, hopefully some sacks today, hopefully force some bad throws, because Lagway, his decision-making has not been on point so far this year. I think that's a big one for me. And, of course, both lines of scrimmage need to step up. We expect Miami's offensive line to do their thing as well. And Florida has injuries, including Caleb Banks on the defensive side. And Banks, their top defensive lineman, not playing today is going to be an issue for them. And then another one, Grease, I keep seeing Miami coaches, the head man, Mario Cristobal, the GM, Dennis Smith, they keep talking about how they want Hard Rock Stadium to be an asylum tonight. Bring that electric juice, make the place an asylum. And I think for the Hurricanes, scoring first and scoring quickly, I think, is really important. Apparently 26% of the tickets for this game were sold to Gator fans. So I want to make sure only 74% of the people in that building are happy. And that 74% is as loud as 120% of the people in that stadium tonight. And also Greece, Miami, and at some point, this team is going to have to face some adversity on the scoreboard. Hopefully that's not tonight. Miami hasn't trailed in any game they've played so far this year. And, it's a lot easier to call plays when you're up, right? It's easier for your pass rush. It's easier to stay balanced on offense. So I want Miami to strike first, strike quickly, and take a lead in this game.
Yeah, and like you said, they haven't trailed at all this season. They've come out ready to play every game. And that's one thing that no one can ever say about a Mario Cristobal coach team is that they're not ready to play. They are prepared on both sides of the ball. I saw too many penalties in the USF game last week, Alex, but you've pointed out many times this week, a lot of those were late in the game. The USF players were getting chippy, some retaliatory things that you still can't have, right? Because it really could cost you down the line. But win this game today, head into that Florida State game. You got the week off. You know what I mean? It's the first road game. So you get to the finish line of that first little sub-season, I like to call it, that little sub-stack of games, right? And it ends with the Gators. And we were a little bit, heading into the USF game, had smoked them on the road last year. But the hot start last week just buried. And that's what you're talking about doing, right? They buried USF from the beginning. And yeah, Carson Beck threw 2 picks, and I'll get that out of the way now because one of them he was hit on and just barely couldn't get the ball. There's a great play by the DB, went way up to grab it at the absolute peak with his fingertips. And the other one was actually Malachi Tony's fault because it wasn't thrown to him. And he's such a freak athlete. He jumps 90 feet in the air, turns around completely, spins his body in a way that it shouldn't move, deflects it to the defender. If you go back and watch that replay and just watch Tony, oh my God. I mean, the kid's just crazy. So I took that from the game. The interceptions weren't necessarily on Beck. One of them when he got hit, that was, but again, he got hit. And that is one thing that's huge today for the Hurricanes, Alex. Carson Beck has gotten dirty this year, but he's gotten dirty running the ball and lowering the shoulder, and I love that about him. He hasn't gotten dirty in the pocket, and that's huge for this Hurricanes. Offensive line has been amazing, and what they've done when your head coach is a nasty offensive lineman at heart, you're going to have a nasty offensive line. And it's taken Mario a couple of years to get to the point where the offensive line reflects our head coach. And this offensive line definitely, if you remember Mario when he played here, reflects our head coach. And you saw Pat McAfee talk about it in the interview, and just seeing a guy like McAfee on campus for a couple days and, jumping off the high dive, and how great is that for recruiting? How great is that for overall enrollment? All the things that Donna Shalala never saw about this football program and the greatness that it brought to the university in so many ways, or maybe she saw it in her own weird, twisted way. But my point is, the Florida Gators have a lot of talent, Alex. They bring that name. They bring that panache. They bring that feeling of whenever they play the University of Miami, the records can be thrown out the window. The circumstances can be thrown out the window. But I think a big X factor in this game that I haven't heard many people talk about, because our offensive line is great up front. Their defense is their strength. They threw 5 interceptions last week, Lagway did, and they still kept it close against a really good LSU team. So that's a little bit concerning that you can turn the ball over that many times and your defense is still that good. But our offensive line, I think, is elite. Our offensive line is one of the top 2 or 3 in the country. I think they're going to prove it today, and they're going to have no problem at all running the ball on Florida, no problem at all passing the ball against Florida. But here's the thing that I was going to point out 5 minutes ago that I haven't heard anybody say yet, Alex, and I'll leave this note right here. Carson Beck has Florida experience. You know what I'm saying? Carson Beck has been there, and Carson Beck has seen that Florida team up close and been there for a lot of big wins in that Georgia-Florida game. So he knows Florida's defense. He knows their personnel. He knows what they do. He knows all about them. And that, to me, is a huge factor coming into this game, especially when it comes to what you're talking about, which is getting off to the hot start early and putting points on the board.
Yeah, and I know Gator fans will bring up, well, Beck threw 3 interceptions against us last year. He did that. He also threw over 300 yards, and he won the game.
He did win the game.
And he's 2-0 against Florida in his career. And so, and if nothing else, like if Beck wasn't completely satisfied with the way he played against Florida last year, I think he might have learned from that and can have an even sharper performance today. Now, when we did our picks last week for USF, We both picked Miami to win, but I had it a relatively close game. You had it a Miami blowout, and you were right last week. I think I learned something. I'm channeling my inner Jim Grieshaber this week because I've gone on record with a 42-16 Miami Hurricanes prediction. Where are you at for this one?
Oh man, okay, so you're going out on the grease ledge this week. I was out there.
I'm on the ledge.
The reason I saw it last week was because USF was so small on defense, particularly up front, that I just thought it would be like, you ever see those videos, those old home videos from when we were kids, and the big brothers just decide to go out and play with the little brothers for a while and just throw them around. That was what I saw the University of Miami Hurricanes offensive line doing to USF, and that's pretty much what they did. What I didn't see was Josh Moore coming out of nowhere or 2 touchdowns, a true freshman, just like Tony, a freshman, and those two have been dominant. You know what I mean? JoJo Trader hasn't even emerged yet, and we're waiting for that. Elijah Lofton hasn't been a big part of the offense, but Beck has spread the ball around. He's been going every direction with it. He always makes the right read. Mario Cristobal says Carson Beck only cares about one thing, and that's making his teammates better. I didn't know how we were going to replace Cam Ward. Carson Beck comes along, and even then you're still going, wow, it's still Cam Ward. And you look at what he's doing now on Sundays and some of the plays he's made already, and you're going, wow, we had that last year for 1 year. But Carson Beck, I don't want to say he's exceeded Cam Ward. They've been very different. But in terms of running that offense, in terms of making his teammates better, in terms of just being a field general and making the throws he's had to make, he's been every bit as good as Cam was. And I really didn't know if we'd be able to say that after this number of games already. And he needs to be good today, just like that, Alex, because the Florida Gators are a team that draws a lot of attention. The Florida Gators are a team that, they sold 24% of the tickets or 26% or whatever. College game days here. They don't have the record you'd want to see them have when you beat them. You want them to be undefeated when you beat them. You want every team to be undefeated when you beat them and then win the rest of their games after you beat them, unless it's you playing them again, right? Sure. So Miami's going to have no problem with Florida. We both agree with that. I don't see it in the 40s today, Alex, because I think their defense is very, very good, Florida. In fact, they're going to score in single digits today unless they get a defensive or special teams touchdown. I'm going on record saying Miami is going to win this game 34-6. The Gators don't score a touchdown, 2 field goals, and that's it. 34-6, Miami.
I will take it. And by the way, a huge shout out to the listeners that I met at the event at the Hard Rock Dare Day Club yesterday. And huge shout out to one of my listeners, Rick Villarreal. He owns a company, Grease, that makes buttons. Do you see this button that I'm wearing?
Gator Hater.
Gator
What does
Hater.
It say up top? From my
it says
eyes.
certified Gator Hater is what it says. Or no, sorry,
certified.
official. I can't read apparently. It's
Look
official.
at you. You're all decked out in orange too. You went on record this week saying you like the orange with the white pants, and then you like the road all white, right? I like the green pants on the road with the white because we killed Nebraska in those, but I love the orange too. The orange is as classic Miami Hurricanes as you can get.
Yeah, no, for sure. And they are wearing orange on white today. Yep, and by the way, you see this Gator Hater button. I got about 6 of these that I'm going to be giving away before the game. I'm going to be at the right by the club entrance on the south side. It's right where the pregame show broadcasts from on WQAM. You guys can't miss me. I'm going to be dressed like this. I look like a carrot. I'm going to be walking around in my
and you're going to be there till 2 a.m. looking like a carrot.
Well, I mean, yeah, for most of that, I'll be in the press box in the air conditioning, but from like 5 until 6 o'clock, I'm going to be outside the South Club entrance, and I think I've got 42 of these buttons. I also have, I've got a few Gator Haters, and I've got some Locked On Canes buttons, and so I guess like the first 42 Locked On Canes everydayers who come up to me, I'll have a button for you guys, so come by and say hello.
The first 42. Alex, can I just say one more thing? I just forgot to say it, and I want to get it in. Okay, so the Gators are really going to try to pin their ears back and pressure Carson Beck today. So I think a couple of delayed draws. Watch for big runs from Fletcher. Watch for big runs from Marty Brown. We're going to rip off a couple of big ones today because of the pressure they're going to try to put on Beck to rattle him after that 3 INT game last year. And I really believe that Fletcher has put to rest any doubts about his ability for the big run.
I mean, he had that huge 38-yard touchdown run. I'd like to see him do that again. And Cristobal said Jordan Lyle's good to go. He's the home run hitter. I don't know if he's going to have like as big of the Fletcher workload today, but if Lyle gets out there, 8-10 touches, I want to see one of those go 60 yards.
There's going to be a couple big runs. Mark my words. They're going to pin their ears back, and there's going to be a couple big runs. And then what does that set up? That sets up the precision the surgical removal of the heart of the Gator.
Well, make sure you guys check out the postcast immediately after the game. And I'm going to try to, I had to miss last week because our radio post game was a little condensed. I'm going to try to hop on with Grease for a few minutes tonight, win or lose. I'll hop on with Grease on the postcast. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow him at @JimGrease_ on X. Follow me at Alex Donno. We'll see you at the stadium. Let's bring that electric juice tonight. We'll talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes. It's all about the U on the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.